7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Got me up the coast, boy. Wanna hear the ocean roar crash over me. Then ride it home, dance it out in moonlight. Hold me tight and don't let go. Watch over me. We are all stardust, stardust, stardust. Left behind, left to find one another, face the sun, fear no one, 'cause we are all one, we are all one, we are all one, we are all one, we are all. Pick me up, get moonchild, put me into overflow. Superstar.
Hey everybody! So we're doing a little bit of a change of scenery this afternoon. So it's kind of hard to read. Maybe I'll pull up my chat on my phone. Hopefully the little wind chimes won't go too crazy while I'm live today. Let me pull up my... Okay. My favorite channel, Linda says. Can't see it, it's so bright. Hey, Lip Lock. Chris today's the lucky wiener. And yes, Chris, you could probably come up here sometime today. Let's see. Jen R. Luminous. Aurora. Hey, everybody. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Live from my front porch today. There's Kathy. So I have a lot of exciting things in store for you guys. You have no idea. I have my big old liter Diet Pepsi. It is 76 degrees here in central Indiana. So I swear I have not watched this interview yet with the ex-wife. I watched like a clip of it. The part I saw is where she was talking about him backhanding her daughter. There's Country Girl. People were asking about you yesterday. I thought maybe you were I know you're dating somebody new, so I thought maybe things are going good there. Let's see. Let's pull up this. Okay, it was Trev time. Did everybody watch this? I'm sure pretty much everybody's seen this except me. I don't know. We might have to move directions or move locations. It's kind of here. Maybe if I'll do it like this. Hold on. Switch some things around. Turn you guys the other direction here, I guess. Let's see. Try it this way. Okay, get my speaker. So, has anybody heard from Chris since she has came out? This might be a little bit better. Let me see here. Whoa, but then you guys can't see me. You can see the surroundings, but then you can't see me. There's my wind chime you guys always hear. Okay, so we'll try one other. Hey, second to no one. Hey, crazy mom. One last. You can see me like this. Let me see here. Looks dark on my phone. He tried calling a bunch of creators, but nobody answered. Are they really, really that loud? Is it really that loud? Okay, well, if it's not loud, then we're gonna have to. Now wind's gonna pick up, so I guess we will have to move it inside. Well, they're fine, we can hear you. Hey, Jam. Try it one this way. I was trying to do a new scene, change of scenery. Thought it'd be exciting. I guess should stay to what we know works. Okay, that's a little bit better. Well, a lot bit better, but I don't know if how the wind chime's going to. So, yeah, I heard it was like a major tearjerker for sure. Some people, I heard wasn't a dry eye watching it. Well, thank you, second to no one. I guess we could go ahead I haven't listened. Has anybody not listened to it?
Faith Proudfoot's mother.
Hold on.
Christopher Proudfoot is Faith's father, biologically. And I'm here to tell my story of what happened to myself and to my children.
Absolutely. And I think it's a story that needs to be heard. So if you want to just open us up with the beginning of your story and just get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, my name is Neena. I live here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I have 3 amazing children. I met Christopher back when I was 35 years old. I met him on a dating website. Don't know what I was doing there, I guess. I wish I could take it back. I started talking to him. He was stationed out in San Diego, and we started talking back and forth. Wanted to get to know him a little bit more. I thought he was a great person in the beginning. But everybody is always perfect in the beginning, right? We fail to see the red flags, and we fail to notice things that we should in the beginning. So he made a couple of trips out here, asked me to marry him, and I made the mistake by saying I do. So we got married. Eventually, we moved to San Diego. I wasn't really ever prepared to move away again from New Mexico. I had went through a divorce a couple years prior to meeting Christopher. And my first husband was military as well, but I was married to him for 9.5 to 10 years, almost 10 years. We made it. He's the father of my other 2 children. And I told him that, I was remarrying and we were moving to San Diego. And he wasn't really for it. He was kind of against it due to the fact that he was stationed out at Fort Bliss, which is in El Paso, Texas. And that's about like 3.5 hours from Albuquerque. So he was, he would always see his kids like every weekend. And he's like, how am I going to see my kids? And I said, well, we'll figure it out. So we packed up after we said I do. I don't remember the exact date when I got married to Christopher, and maybe that's a good thing. We moved into the naval housing out there, and my son, Noah, was 3 at the time, and my oldest was about 7 years old. And she was telling me 7. So I thought everything was great in the beginning. I mean, everything's always perfect, like I said. And then I started seeing bits and pieces of how Christopher really was. I was a stay-at-home wife. Due to my son being so young, I wanted to, enjoy those years with him. Then my daughter went to school right down the street. So I was home every single day. And it just started seeing like Christopher changed like night and day. It was awkward. I felt really uncomfortable after a while. We would argue about just the smallest things. And a lot of it also had to do with how he disciplined my children. I'm very protective over my kids. And I didn't want somebody else to discipline my children. I didn't want him talking ugly to them or hurting their feelings. And I remember one time where Christopher
She's gonna get into it. Sorry, I know the wind chimes are loud. Well, thank you, Hopeful. And I know many of you guys have heard this or whatever, but I haven't heard it at all. Except, well, I shouldn't say at all. I heard very short amount. Like I went to a couple spots on it and listened to random places. Shoulder replacement. Oh, wow. I'm afraid I'm going to have to knee replacement someday. Probably this one first. It's been bugging me for like well over a year now.
Spanked my son really hard, and I got very upset with him, and I said, you can't do that to my son. I said, he's 3, he's a baby still. Like, you can't just do whatever you want. I mean, he got upset, and he's like, well, he needs to learn. He needs to man up. He's a man. I said, he's 3. He's 3. And as time went on, like, I could see him getting more aggressive and more aggressive. And I stood up for my kids all the time. I didn't like how he talked to them, how he wanted them to stand in the corner all the time. And I didn't like that. So I stayed a little bit longer. I ended up eventually getting pregnant with Faith. And it was probably, I want to say, maybe early September that I found out that I was pregnant with Faith. And I remember telling him that I was pregnant.
Sure, Chris, you can join. We're just watching this and yeah, how long is that gonna put you out of commission for? There's the link, Chris, if you want to come up. I know, I heard a lot of people cried during this, Judy. She is a survivor, clearly saved her children's lives. Probably Luminous. I mean, how long were they together? I mean, she probably gets into it here or talks about it. There's Chris. Hey, Chris.
How are you doing today, Ziggy?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Is it warm where you're at? It's a pretty nice day here.
What's the temperature where you're at?
76. What is it there?
Same here. 76.
Oh my gosh, we're twins. We're temperature twins.
Yeah, I know.
High five.
I've been praying for your knee.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
I heard about what you said just now. I'm sorry about your knee.
Oh, well, it's okay. I need to go get it checked out. It's my fault. But how are you feeling today?
Not good. Still crying.
Still crying? Just sad?
Yeah, I've been thinking about maybe running away or something.
Running away? Where are you going to run to?
California.
California? What's in California?
Yosemite. The woods.
Like you're wanting to live off the land?
Yeah, exactly.
Really? You won't? What if you're not going to be able to talk to anybody really out there?
I might get connects in California.
You might get what?
I might get connection in California.
Yeah, but how if you're out in the middle of the woods, you probably won't have phone reception.
True.
So
What
I mean,
video are you watching?
we're watching. This is who Chris Proudfoot is, the
Oh, is he
father of
dead?
the
He's
stepdad
he's the father of Seth, isn't he?
of Sebastian. Yeah, he's the stepdad of Sebastian, and a lot of
Got it.
people are suspecting him.
I've been thinking about running away or getting hit by a car, one or the other.
Well, I don't think either of those is a good option. Definitely not the second one. Do you have family that lives with you?
Yeah, I
Without going
do.
into too much detail.
I do have family that lives with me, but it's been hard. You know what I mean?
Jam said, "Don't run away or get hit by a car." I'm sure hitting. Yeah, that would hurt really bad.
It's
To
been
be hit
very
by a car.
sad for me lately.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put myself on mute and then I will talk to you in a second after the video is over.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming up here.
I'll stay up here with you.
Okay, sounds good. Navajo Nation will support Neena. Gosh. I'm really bad at. Oh, shoot.
And he wasn't happy about it. So I called my parents back home here in Albuquerque, and I told them the situation.
Yeah, Chris, well, he knows that. I'm sure he knows it's dangerous. Right, Chris? I mean, you might not be able to respond right now, but we'll pray for you. And please don't run away or get hit by a car. We'd be really sad. You don't want us to be sad.
And I said, well, Christopher wants me to get an abortion with Faith. And my parents said, no, you're not.
No, I
And I
won't
said,
run away.
I'm not. So I know he was really upset about
I'm glad.
keeping Faith.
Nor the other option either. The getting run over by a car is not a good option either.
And I promise I will not use a weapon either.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah,
If
Smiley worries about you too.
If I feel like that, I will talk to you.
Yes, or yeah, text me or Smiley or one of your other friends.
If I feel like that, I will text you.
Okay, sounds good. We have a deal then.
Sounds good. I'll be back here in a minute.
Okay, all right.
At that point in time. So I came home. My grandma had gotten very sick, and I decided to come home. And after that, I just kind of stayed here in New Mexico, because at that time we weren't getting along and we were just like newlyweds, and that should have never happened. But I saw things, like I said, that were just it wasn't right about him. So I moved home, and I did my whole pregnancy by myself. And so I finally, my friends back there in California, my neighbors right across the street, were actually calling me. I had one good friend, which is still a really good friend of mine to this day. She called me and said, Neena, Christopher's getting rid of your furniture and getting rid of your stuff. And I was like, what? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, he's giving away like your little, your home decor stuff. Like he's giving away beds. And I was like, no way. So this was about Easter time. So I had went out there. I made a special trip. I asked my mom to go with me, and Isabella and Noah, they went with me, and I was still pregnant with Faith at the time. So we made it. I didn't tell him that we were going out there. So I kind of, wanted to see myself, because the neighbor also informed me that there was people at the house that shouldn't have been there. So I guess I kind of wanted to sneak up on him and see what he was doing, right? And we pulled up into the driveway, into the driveway, and he was coming out the front door with a bed that he was giving to the neighbor, which was my son's bed. The look on his face was like a deer in headlights. And he dropped the bed right there in the front yard, went back in the front door, slammed the door and locked it on my kids. And my mom told me at that point, she said, I can't believe he's doing this. Like, what is he doing? So I go in and I unlock the door and I said, what are you doing? I said, are you giving away my stuff? And he had nothing to say. So he brought the bed back in, because I knew that's what he was doing. And, the neighbor across the street, like I said, told me. So we stayed there. It was super uncomfortable. My mom felt the tension between the both of us. My children felt it as well. And at the time, Faith started moving. Like, I could start, I felt her moving around in my stomach. And I told Christopher, I said, look, I said, put your hand on my stomach. I said, can you feel her move? He said, no. When you're pregnant, you always think that your spouse is going to be super supportive and be super excited that you're pregnant and bringing a life into this world for him, right? But I didn't get that. I didn't get that support.
That makes me think, because that's his only child, right? And he was asking her to get an abortion. So obviously he does not like kids or the responsibility of kids. So it makes you wonder, because that's his only child, right? Faith is his only one. And sorry, I hope it's not too loud in the background. Let me know. I've been trying to mute. Yeah, he didn't want her to have the baby at first. Exactly. So he says my daughter takes on a whole new meaning, in my opinion, right? He didn't even want her. And now, I know it gets worse, because I clicked on a certain part where she's talking about him backhanding her daughter. So let's continue.
Support that I needed. So we had a conversation my mom brought up between Christopher, myself, and her. And she had said, do you not want Faith? Like, do you not want this baby? And Christopher stated to my mom, he wasn't happy. And he said, what if one of them dies? What if Faith dies or Neena dies on the table, or when she's having this baby? Like, my mom said, don't talk like that. Like, why are you talking like that? They're still here. So we left again after a couple of days. We came home to Albuquerque.
Did he really try to paint it as if, oh, well, what if one of them dies? Was he trying to... What the heck? What if one of them dies? Yeah, I'm sure that's really what he was thinking. He seemed racist as well, even though he married Neena. Oh, I can imagine. Deception Detective is going to try to interview him? Oh, that'd be awesome. I agree, Kathy. At this point, it's pretty evident. I would love for him to come back and talk on this. Is it really true that he was trying to reach out to YouTubers? Because I wish people would have heard from him after, because I'd like to hear him respond to this, just to hear what he has to say.
And still, I tried working it out where we were at, but it just wasn't working. I wanted out. And I had faith on my own. Christopher called the hospital. I told him on June 1st that I got admitted into the hospital. And Faith arrived like at June 2nd, like about 3 or 4 in the morning. And he kept calling the hospital and kept calling the hospital and saying that my wife is in labor, she's there. But Christopher was just so rude and hateful and just, I mean, he wasn't even there. So then he arrived a couple days later after Faith, I had Faith, and he was, the doctors and the nurses there were on high alert due to the fact that they heard Christopher over the phone on how he was being disrespectful to the nurses that were on call that night, as you know, I was waiting to have her. And I asked that they not give him any more information. So he arrived. I had Faith. He arrived a couple days later, like I said. And you could just tell the look on his face, like he wasn't happy at all. Like, didn't say, hey, you did a good job. Didn't say, I'm so happy that you brought my daughter into this world, like nothing. And I remember my sister was holding Faith, and she had to ask Chris, do you want to hold her? He said, I guess. So she handed her over to Chris. And
we are going to
he stayed there
color
with me for a couple
those
more days
eggs.
because I had a C-section. And
What'd you say, Chris? What is that?
These are eggs.
Oh, what are you making?
We bought some eggs today at the store, and we're gonna color them for Easter.
Oh, really cool. Are you gonna do an Easter egg hunt?
We're actually gonna eat them. They're hard-boiled eggs.
Okay, so you're just doing it to be festive. Participate in the festivities of Easter. That's awesome.
And are you hungry, Ziggy? If you are,
yeah. Yes,
there's
I am.
some spaghetti for you. I can send it to you.
All the way from Oklahoma?
I can mail you some spaghetti.
Well, thank you. By the time I got here, it probably wouldn't be any good, but would be amazing. Did you cook it yourself?
Yeah, I cooked spaghetti. I love to cook spaghetti.
So you cooked it yourself? So it was even made by you. Wow. I could have some homemade spaghetti by Chris. All right. Easter eggs are so fun. Yeah, I am kind of actually hungry. I said Chris and Katie was split up over Sebastian, and Katie had to pick him. Yeah, I bet that sounds about right. Where's Summer? To me.
on one of the occasions, I can't recall what was happening, but he was raising his voice and he was talking to me very disrespectful in front of one of the nurses. And she had told him, look, she just brought life into this world. She just got major surgery and you're yelling at her. And I have a problem with that. She said, if you continue to do this, I'm going to have to tell social services to come down here. And I'm also going to have to ask you to leave the hospital and not return. So at that point in time, he kind of calmed down after he heard that. But unfortunately, that didn't last very long. He continued to do that. So social services at the hospital was told to come down, and he was pretty much, she said, you can't do that here. And she was really concerned for my well-being at the time, and also Faith's, because, here is Christopher, dictating and telling me what I can and can't do, and telling the nurses to do their job correctly and all these other things, and raising his voice at me. And, so they had to step in. And so she said,
Are you watching basketball? Cool. All right. Well, we'll get back to our video. I was just checking out what you were watching.
so this is it. Like, you're gonna have to leave the premises. And and he got a little upset. He's like, no, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna be good. So they said, okay, but we're watching you. So after that, we had left. They discharged all of us from the hospital, and he didn't want to stay at my parents' house because my mom and dad live in a trailer, and he doesn't like that. It's a house, right? Still. So he rented a room at Kirtland Air Force Base, and they have like lodging there, which is like a house, old base housing, and we ended up getting one of those. And we stayed there for a while. I remember one night in particular where we all had went out and got something to eat to bring it back to the room. I had went into the restroom, I believe that's where I was at, and Faith was in her car seat, and my oldest daughter was in the living room with my son and Christopher. Well, anyways, I guess I wasn't moving fast enough for Christopher, but the baby started crying. Faith started crying. And, she's crying, and I'm trying to get to her as fast as I can. And when she was in the car seat, my oldest daughter at the time witnessed this with my 3-year-old son. When she was in the car seat, he ended up hitting the car seat against the wall. And he's getting upset because she's crying. And then when she was in her car seat, there was a coffee table right there, and he ended up tossing her on the coffee table with the car seat because he was so irate that she was crying. And I said, hey, what's your problem? I said, what are you doing? Like, she's a baby. She's going to cry. I wish I would have never met him. I'm sorry. I should have left a long time ago, because no children ever deserve this. My kids didn't. So he left again to San Diego. A couple of days went by. Then all of a sudden he's like, well, why don't you move to Hendersonville? And I was like, why though? In my head. And I knew it was a bad idea. I just knew it. I knew it because our marriage was on the rocks. I wasn't happy. He wasn't a good father figure to my children.
How long were they married, guys? Jesus Christ had a son named Jude. Also, let's see, September. If you guys see September Virgo, let me know. I sent her an email. I don't know if she got it. I'm just wondering about the label to send all those items, those food items to Fred. They were only together 3 months? Oh, wow. Really? 3 months? This POS wanted Sebastian to live with his father, but wants her to Yeah, exactly, Lori. That's because he's just exactly. He's just one of those. He's just a narcissist that has to be right the way it sounds, or just warfare. Yeah, psychological warfare. There you go.
I don't know why I said yes. Well, anyways, so let me back up. So before he left back to San Diego, Faith ended up going back into the NICU. She ended up getting jaundice, and she went back to the NICU. So she was in the NICU, I want to say, for a week to a week and a half. And that was when Kathy, Chris's mother, came out, flew down with her brother, Duran Guy, or they call him Big D. They came down, and she was in the NICU. And that was when I felt like a plan was made, because like I said, our marriages it was on the rocks. And one of my neighbors had told me in San Diego, they had warned me, they had said, Neena, be careful, because Christopher is coming up with a plan with his mother. And they're planning on taking the baby away from you. And I was like, what? Like, thinking to myself, it can't be true from somebody that's supposed to love you, right? Like somebody that you're supposed to share your life with. Like, why would he want to take the baby away from me? And she warned me. But I was like, no, why would they do that? So then after Faith got out of the NICU, we were no longer staying in base housing. We were staying at one of the embassy suites down here. Then his mom came up with an idea. She goes, well, since you guys, we'll be moving to Hendersonville. And I was like, I felt like, okay, well, maybe. And he's like, well, you'll get help. You're going to get help from my family. And, but I was already getting help here from my parents, with my other two children that they helped me raise. So that I went along with it. Like I said earlier, even though I knew it was wrong to go, I still went hoping that my marriage would work out. So she ended up taking Faith, although I was against it. Kathy Bowers Hawks.
They were really only together 3 months? That's crazy. Well, it couldn't have been 3 months, really, could it have? Because it couldn't have been 3 months. They had been married because, obviously, if he was around when Faith was a baby, then that means it takes 9 months to... I know, she said NICU, so it sounds like she had her premature, but... Chris Proudfoot has failed at everything and is addicted to marriage. Control. Yep. Hey, Flow State. He married all these women fast before he knew. Yep. Happy Easter to you, too, Electronic Medium. Currently... well, I don't know if I don't think it matters to say, does it, Kathy? Well, I guess I'm about to say it anyways. Fred's over at Kathy's right now for a pass. He's getting to get out for a little bit, which is nice, I'm sure, for him. The girl had braces. He backhanded her and busted her lip. Wow. Yeah. This sick family has money and knows people. I don't trust any of them. Yep. Yeah, Kathy's in chat, and Fred was listening, but I don't know. What's Fred doing, Kathy? Sleeping? Hey, Michelle. Last time I talked to Fred, he was over there helping build a shed or something over at Kathy's. Hi, Fred, from us. Candelise says hi, Fred. CP is warped, yes. He thinks little boy should man up. Can you imagine what he expected out of Sebastian? Dude, he's no man. Are you freaking... He's... Why does he think he's a real man? Have you adopted our friend Fred? Kind of. Yes, she has. She calls him her adopted son. What about the car? What do you mean, Marlena? Last I heard, his family is the one following searchers around. Yep. Yep. They didn't let him know till last minute. Just got a new battery. Car won't start. Turn over. Make any noise. Ideas. Just got a new battery. Car won't start. Turn over. Make any noise. Ideas. Question mark. Won't make any noise. Is it the alternator or something? Or the start? I don't know. Maybe Fred will message and tell me. I forget. I think it was the alternator went out when mine wouldn't make any freaking noise. Which sucks because that's like a few $100 at least. It's more than likely not the... I would think it'd be the alternator. Found it interesting that she never says that Chris hit her, only that he hit the children. Yeah, he and my son were working on that building, and I don't know what they are doing now. And yes, Fred is now my adopted son. My phone is wanting act up. It will make the clicking noise. Yeah, is it making that clicking noise? That's the alternator if it's making that clicking noise. Hopefully it is just your battery cables. She said your lives are deep fakes and sacrifice. Okay. Are you? I already know who you're talking about. WCIA. I don't even have to know because that's the type of language she uses. He probably just picks on little kids. She might have beat his ass. Yeah, but he's a real man. Hey, Angie's Life. Let's keep listening a little bit.
And her brother, Duran, ended up taking Faith. And my mom and dad were like, my mom started crying. She goes, why are you letting them take the baby? And I said, because Christopher said that it's going to be too hard for her to travel, you know, to travel. And I'm sorry. They went back. So Kathy and Big D went back to Tennessee. So it was 2 weeks later, about 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks later, Kathy ended up coming back by herself. I do apologize. She came back by herself to pick up Faith.
That's an alternator, I'm guessing, probably. But usually, if it's your alternator, doesn't it usually work for, because your alternator is what charges your battery, right? And if she used I'm trying to think, if she used a new battery, then it should work for a short time, right? Until it runs. Do you know, Fred is a great kid. I wish you all could get to know him. Funny, we don't see old Tiffers outside. Did you screw her coffin shut? Has she been going live? Has Tiffany even been around? Yeah, one of the two. Jam Sheeman say Sebastian is connected to Summer's case. I can't with that. Oh gosh. Really? That's what WCAIA is saying? Yep, they'll take. Well, she can't get it there. She'd have to tow it there. Has Benny resurfaced? Yeah, what's up with Benny? From when last I looked, he still had warrants, but some people were saying his warrants got lifted, or I still saw him. I think the starter is a lot less expensive than an alternator. He slithers in now and then.
She was here in Albuquerque for one night, and even though I was against it, I let her go with Kathy, because Christopher said it was going to be too hard to travel with her being a new baby. So he came out from San Diego, rented a U-Haul, packed all our stuff, and we pretty much left. And that's how I ended up in Hendersonville, Tennessee. That's when my whole life changed. That's when my nightmare happened. We lived with his mother and his stepfather, Terry, for about a good month, because our apartment wasn't going to be ready until the end of August, about the end of August. So it was really uncomfortable living there. You know, Terry and Kathy would always bicker at each other, and she'd be bickering with Christopher, and, you know, my kids were a problem, an issue. It was always something. I felt really uncomfortable, and I wanted to come home. I just wanted to come home to everything that I knew. I wanted my mom and my dad, even though I was a grown woman. I needed that. So we all had to get along, tried to for the most part, but it was just an awkward situation. I always felt like we were the outcast. Never felt accepted by the Proudfoots or the Bowerslocks. On one occasion, Christopher was cutting my oldest daughter's nails, and she didn't want her nails cut. And Christopher, grabbed a hold of her hand, and she pulled her hand away. And my daughter at the time had braces. He backhand Isabel in the face and busted her whole lip open. I should have left, but I didn't. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't be here. I don't want to be here anymore. So I would come up with every excuse just to come home, but yet, I couldn't come home. So finally we went and we moved into the apartment. And a phone call, like as soon as Christopher was leaving, he settled us in, got a storage unit of what couldn't fit in the apartment. He got everything ready, all right, him and his family. As soon as he knew that we were comfortable, he left back to San Diego. But the night prior to him leaving, he had got a phone call or a text message that night, and it said something like, hey baby, or around something like that, saying that when is your flight coming in? And I was like, what? Like, who's texting him? So I did confront him, and like he said on one of the podcasts, is that I did slap him. Yes, I did slap him across the face, because who's he talking to at this time? And saying, and he could say that she was lesbian, up and down, but at this point in time, I didn't know what to believe. And I was like, okay. So then after that following day, he finally left. His mother came to pick him up to take him to the airport, and he went back to San Diego. And I was left in Hendersonville with 3 children and pretty much no help from anybody. So I have found a job. I had a job, and Kathy helped once in a while. And I needed to find a babysitter. So his biological father, Michael, and his stepmother, Linda, at that point in time offered their services and said that, they can take care of my 2 older children. And Kathy didn't want Faith going over to Michael's house. So she took care of her. And at that point in time, Christopher, we were still communicating. And like I said, our marriage was on the rocks. So my oldest daughter had gotten sick, and she has upper respiratory issues. So I took her to the emergency room in Hendersonville, and that's when Hendersonville transferred her to Vanderbilt. Is that what I believe that hospital's name is? And I was kind of frantic, because I was like, well, what am I going to do with my 3-year-old son and with the baby? Like, who's going to help me? So I was, I called Chris, and I told him, I said, hey, I said, can your mom watch, Faith, or can somebody help me? Everybody was so quick to help me at that point in time. So Faith stayed with Kathy, and Noah Bryce went with his sister, Melissa. And I went with my oldest daughter. We got transported downtown. And so we stayed there. I can't recall how many days we were there. And Christopher had, I'd check on the kids, see how they were doing. And that point in time, I was like, okay, well, we got discharged, telling everybody, okay, you can bring Noah back, and telling Kathy, okay, I'm going to be home, so you can bring Faith back. Thinking that my children were going to come home to me. I get back to the apartment complex, and I pulled into the parking lot, and I see Melissa just pulled in right next to me. It seems like they were already there waiting for me to get there. And then she said, I can't stay. I would love to stay, but I can't stay because I don't know what they were doing. And she just, my son gets out of her van, and then we walk inside, and I was waiting, for Faith to get there. And we weren't there but less than maybe 5 minutes. And I hear a knock at the door. And I was like, oh, great, Faith is home. And it was Kathy's friend, Patty, that's an attorney. And she said, are you called me by my real name, Gomez? And I was like, yeah. And she said, you've been served. She said, you have a protection order against you. You can't see Faith. And Chris is filing for divorce. And I was like, what? So then I go back, and thinking like my heart just dropped. Like, what? Like, is this a dream? Like, this can't be happening to me. Like, this cannot be happening to me right now. So then I get on the phone and I try calling Chris and he didn't answer. And then I was like, rushing around, and I get my kids in the truck and I go to the Gallatin police department, and I, was ringing the call button. And like finally 30 minutes later, somebody shows up and I told them what happened and I showed them the paper and they said, yep, we can't help you. All I can think about is my baby. Like, how am I gonna get my baby back?
Yeah, he's very vindictive type, isn't he? Sorry, a lot of people out riding their motorcycles. It's a nice day here in Indiana. Should be evil ass. Whoa, gosh. So loud. There's no way that she couldn't have gotten her daughter back if she has not lost custody of her daughter. First of all, you have to go through court for someone else to get custody of your child. Well, what had but the thing is, they both had, at that point, they would have, we might not be talking about the same thing, where Summer, but at that point, both of them had equal rights to Faith. So basically, that's why law enforcement probably couldn't do anything, because he pulled some sneaky shit and made sure he had the daughter in his custody, and then had her served, and got this protective order. And yeah, it's, your part of Indiana's cold, really? See, this guy just likes to play games. He doesn't even really want the child, but is just doing it to try to get at her. But I have to actually get off here, guys. I know this is a short live, but I'm gonna
Hey, Ziggy.
Hey.
I just wanted to tell you something again.
What's that?
That's funny. I actually know where Indiana is.
What'd you say?
I actually know where Indiana is.
Oh, do you? Have you been here before?
What part of Indiana are you from? I have some family in Jasper, Indiana.
Oh, okay. That's where my grandfather was. That's where my grandfather went to high school at and stuff. And
my cousin actually owns a dance studio in Jasper, Indiana.
Oh, that's cool.
She teaches kids how to dance.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, my grandfather was born there. I don't know if I've even ever been there, but really, I'm sure I have. But
what part of Indiana are you from?
I'm in Shelbyville.
Got ya.
Yep, in
Hey,
Shelbyville.
Ziggy, I have
Yeah.
a question for you.
What's that?
Maybe this year, if I'm still not doing good, can you maybe come down here to Oklahoma and visit me?
Well,
I'm
you,
sorry
you
for
never know.
asking. I
You
hope you're
never
not
know.
mad.
No, I'm not mad at you. Why would I be mad at you? I'm not mad at you. You never know. Maybe I'll be able to take a vacation to Oklahoma sometime. I haven't been to Oklahoma in 10 years.
Got ya.
We'll see.
Well, thank you for letting me on, Ziggy. And if you're on tonight, I will come back on.
All right, sounds good.
But if I'm still not doing well, I will text you. I love you, Ziggy.
All right. Well, there's a lot of people here that have been praying for you and care about you. So keep your head up, okay?
If I ever feel like that, I promise I will text you or call you.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye, Ziggy.
All right. Bye. Bye, Chris. We'll see you.
I try to be a good person. You know I do, right?
Yeah. Yep. We know that. We know you try to do as best as you can to be a good person.
I hope you enjoy
Okay,
your. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, Ziggy, and I will be back on tonight if you're on.
Okay, sounds good. We'll
Later,
talk to you.
Ziggy.
Bye. All right, guys. I have to go for a little bit. Yeah, he likes to come up and he says it helps his mental health to be able to come up here and talk with you guys and stuff. And he goes over on Smiley's as well. So I do know I'll be live reading cards over at Empress Ziggy. I definitely have to do that. But I'm going to eat something first and I'll be on there here in a little bit. Yes, everybody have a really good Easter. If I'm not back on here, I'll definitely at least be back here tomorrow. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you later.